The minis, brow styling. First up is what I like to call the Instagram brow. Instagram brows are extra crisp and filled to perfection. There'll be no sparse areas in this baby. I like to use a brow cream to create the outline of the shape I want the brow to be in. I like to start off by filling in the bottom middle part of my brow. The reason being is that this area is naturally the most dense, and when starting off, I have the most product on the brush. Once I'm finished filling in the middle and end tail of the brow, I move on to the inner corner. Be careful not to be too heavy-handed in this section because this is naturally the lightest area of your brow. Once I've finished filling the brow, I come in with a flat brush and some concealer to make the outline as sharp as possible. Make sure your concealer is blended in nicely, and voila, you've got yourself some perfect brows. Up next is a natural brow. When it comes to these brows, powder and an angled brow brush are my go-tos. I use the lighter shade of powder to fill in majority of my brow with the angled brow brush. I make small hair-like strokes for the most natural finish possible. And I use the darker shade of powder to fill in the tail of the brow, using a spoolie to brush through and ensure that everything is well blended. The final touch for all of my brow styles is a good brow gel. For a natural finish, I like to gel my brows towards the corner of my forehead at about a 45-degree angle. Next up, a bold fit and flare brow. To get this look, brow pencils are my weapon of choice, and the finer the tip, the better. I use a brow pencil in a shade or two darker than my natural brow color. I feel like the darker shade really helps to add dimension when filling in the brow. Once I've added enough hair-like strokes to the bottom arch of my brow, I move on to the top of the tail to add some bulk to this area too. Make sure to resharpen your pencil as needed and move on to the inner corner of the brow to fill in any sparse areas, all while keeping small brush-like strokes. If you feel like any of the areas came out a little too dark, you can brush over them with a spoolie to help disperse the color. And once again, finish it off with a couple swipes of brow gel to make sure everything stays in place throughout the day. After all, just because you weren't born with bold brows doesn't mean you can't rock them.